That should do it. Yeah, so I have in addition to being in a different corner right now, we have a new setup with the lights. I had I've had that glare on my forehead for all this time that has been annoying me, and that's because we only have one set of lights in this room other than the one that's right in front of me here, and it is like right here, off right above my forehead there. And we can't dim them. So I came up with a really technological solution today of I just took a lunchbox and I hung the lunchbox over the light to mute it. Because if I turn the lights off, you'll see we have like some shadow issues with the green screen behind me and all that, and it gets really fuzzy back there. And also, I don't know, it actually looks better now with the now that it's a little bit dark at this time of night. But I think it looks better having this light on for now. Maybe we'll play around with that some more in the future, but not right now because we are here to play Magic the Gathering. So now that everything's looking all right, let's get to it. So, we have to talk about something with this deck, and that something is that I'm currently 15-0 with this deck, I believe. I think that we went 5-0, maybe 4-0 with the first time we ran this configuration, and since then, I have not lost a match doing best of 3. I've lost some games. We've had some really close matches, but I have won every single match. And now I'm just really like anxious and paranoid because I feel like I have this streak going, and I'm anxious that I'm going to lose the streak. So what we're here to do today is we're here to play as well as we can and lose doing it, so that I can get over this mental block of getting my first loss with this version of this deck. So we're just going to get right to that. There's currently the Throne of Eldraine Brawl, the Eldraine Courtside Brawl going on right now. It's a pretty cool event. I recommend you check it out if that's a thing that interests you, if you want to see some of the cards from Eldraine, or you're interested in the Brawl format, which is a singleton format, so 60 cards, but only one copy of any individual card. You have a commander that you can cast from your command zone, all that cool stuff. But we're not going to be doing that now because there's a lot of people covering that. If you want to see that, you can check it out, like Amazonian on Twitch has been doing a great job of that. But I feel like with the pre-constructed decks, ooh boy, that's terrible. This might be it. This might be it. I feel like with the pre-constructed decks, there's just not a whole lot of, it doesn't make for great viewing in my opinion, because you're seeing kind of the same things over and over. Okay, I guess we'll keep this land and put back a Contempt because it's just so far away, and hopefully these two can get us there. All right, so we might get our wish. We might get our wish right off the bat here. That would be so great, because then I would have the defend the undefeated record off of my shoulders. Well, this is certainly not looking good so far. I have a feeling they're going to wrap into something big here since they went Paradise Druid, so let's just pay the 2 life, have the cast down. They could cast like a Vivian or something that has hexproof, so that's about the worst thing possible. Well, I guess we will... We're never going to cast a spell on this guy, so we will Legion's End the Vine Mare, see what they got in hand, or the Paradise Druid. We did get a second Paradise Druid out of their hand. Now they're probably going to go land Vivian and crush our dreams. If they end up having a 1-drop like a Llanowar Elf and they tap out for the Barkhide Troll, that'll just make our day. No such luck. I think what we're going to do, because this guy can give himself hexproof, we're going to take 5 damage. We're going to take 8 damage, actually. Oops, I did not put that stop it in time. That's okay. So what we're going to do here is they will swing. I will cast down this guy. Make them take off the 1/1 counter. Okay. Take 7, go to 6. This is fine. Okay, no land. No land one time. Alright, cool. We can stabilize at 1. If we get a land that doesn't damage... Oh, that was the wrong spell. Oh, I thought we had a... Oh, I already cast the Legion's End. Well, there we go. Yep, I was not reading the cards in my hand, and we just died. We had no outs there. We went to 5. We never found any creatures to block the Vine Mare. Of course, we don't have a whole lot of creatures that can do that very profitably because it can't be blocked by red creatures. So let's try that on the draw this time. We love Noxious Grasp here. We saw they have Planeswalkers, so I'm going to bring an Elder Spell for now. Legion Warboss seems terrible here, so let's pull all of him out. I don't think that I like this as a 5-drop. Bedeck Bedazzle is really clunky here. This leaves us with 60. Do we want Duress to get rid of their... Let's see, I don't think I like bringing in too many Legion's Ends here, because most of their threats are big. Cast Down's really good. Are we getting no music? I'll have to check my music settings once I'm not in the middle of sideboarding. I think maybe I like a couple Duress over like the Disfigures. That hits their Mana Dorks, but we're on the play, so we have things like Legion's End for the Mana Dorks. We probably don't need the Disfigures as much as we want to just rip out those Planeswalkers that will wreck our lives if they resolve. Although I don't think I like Chandra a whole lot here either, so let's pull those, bring the Disfigures back in, or like one of the Disfigures and that last Duress. How about they're mostly creatures? They do have some little guys. If we shrink one of their trolls, we can kill it with that. Nope. Okay. Alright, and while this loads up, let me just look at my audio settings here. Yeah, it's definitely got music up there. Okay, we'll keep that. We're going to lead on Knight because that gives us a creature on board. And I don't think they have any turn 1 plays that we want to Duress. So Llanowar Elf, that's great, because then we can get rid of it, take a look at their hand, maybe rip another one out. So I think I'd rather do that than Duress here. Okay, so they've got the Veil of Summer here. Ooh, and they top decked another Llanowar Elf, so we ended up just missing the 2 for there. I mean, we have another Legion's End. Okay, that's a good draw. Question is, do I want to... Pretty sure the answer is no. I think they're going to play Vivian here. Oh, they might... Oh, they can play Nullhide Ferrex. That's going to be a... yeah, that guy has Hexproof, so... Well, I think we're going to have to Duress away this Veil of Summer anyways. Because, I mean... We'll cast the Duress. I wasn't playing around Duress Act, or around Veil of Summer. I possibly should have done that. But, oh, and you know, we don't have double black for any of these spells. Yep. So we do that. Hopefully they go in on something that we can deal with next turn. We're still missing our next source of black, so... I mean, we can rip the Llanowar Elves. We know they don't have lands, but yeah, what we really need is some way to stabilize this board. I think I like taking 6 and just seeing what else is in their hand, trying to get another 2 for 1 here, and then just hoping that we keep them off of Vivian. Although, yeah, the odds that they... Ooh, yeah. So that keeps them off of Nissa, at least. Alright, I think we found it. I think we found our loss. This feels great. I'm really happy about this. And it's funny, too, because I felt like I've had pretty good luck on stream compared to, like, how I've done in my just playing on my own. Oh, that's right, you know, these guys, this stops them from casting their Planeswalkers while it's out. Oh, man, another double black. Ugh! We have more black in our mana base than anything else. Like, we have a mountain. I think we have 6 dual lands that are not black, so having found, like, half, almost half of our... I think we have to do this, because this keeps them off of playing either of these cards unless they have another land. Okay, well, there's another source of black. So we need one more to be able to... Yeah, we're actually just dead. Because we needed to get a cheaper removal spell for their Feryx. As it is, we can do this, but then we can't actually kill it because Vraska's Contempt costs one too much. So there we go. We got it. We got our first loss after 16 matches in a pretty crushing defeat. Although, granted, we did get a 1-lander followed by a 0-lander followed by a not very good hand. So finally the variance of the greedy mana base catching up and putting us off 2 games in a row there. Just going to make sure that everything is looking good with the new camera angle and everything. Yeah, looks alright. Up against Disposable Hero. Oh man, what is... Alright, well we're keeping this 6. I think we're putting back the Chandra. Hopefully we'll get a untapped source of anything. Okay, so this looks like the Cavalcade deck, which... Oh my god. This is so bad. Okay, the game must have heard me because these have been disgustingly bad openings for us and incredible openings for our opponent. Okay, so... We'll do this. I think we're gonna... I think we thought Erasure because the worst case scenario is another Cavalcade or a Chandra. And look at that, 2 Chandras. Well, I guess we'll get rid of one and hope that we can fade them getting a land here. If we do, we can rip the next one out. Okay, Grim Initiate's fine. I mean, it's not fine. We'd rather them not play anything, but unfortunately, again, we don't have double black here, so we can't do this plus a removal spell, which I neglected to notice when I left that disfigure on top. But, so we go to 9 here at best. Yep, get rid of the next Chandra. Don't like shocking in for not even the color that we want, so that's going away. Okay, so if we shock in, we can do 2 spells here, but that seems bad. Takes to 7. We just die if we do that, actually. So we're going to Legions and this guy. If they're smart... Well, I guess we'll just die next turn is what will happen. So we're going to give them the good game, not show anything else. Because if they Heartfire in response to a removal spell, and the next turn they can just Lightning Strike us and win there. Alright, so what spells are slow? These spells are really slow. I don't want to take up too much of my top end is the issue. They have a really hard time killing Bolas. Maybe I'll trim like 1. Problem is you don't want to take out too many threats because then you just can't close the game in time and they'll kill you with like haste creatures and burn. But I like the dresses. Noxious Grasp is a dead card. These cards are great. Boy, we don't really have a lot of great cards for this matchup. I guess I bring in another removal spell. Legion Warboss actually seems alright to... Oh, yeah, Legion sounds a good one. And I think I trimmed the Chandras because they're really clunky. Legion's Warboss seems okay here because they have a lot of 1/1s, so our 2/2 can actually block them, and the 1/1s that it sends in against them usually aren't going to be blocked, and then we have additional blockers for their 1/1s that we can trade with, so that actually seems pretty good. Even though often in creature-heavy matchups, Legion Warboss is pretty weak. Like that's why we boarded it out in the last game, for all the good that did us. Okay, yeah, don't want you, nope, 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 nope. I mean, so Elder Spell, do we bring in the Elder Spells instead of Vraska's Contempt? Like maybe we go 1 and 1. Just because this gains us life, but it can hit anything. It gains us life and can hit anything and is instant speed, but it's just so much mana, and I want to be on a lower curve here. So I think this is good. It might actually be too heavy on the duress, but since so many of their biggest threats are non-creature spells, I just want to be able to like get two good discards off on them early on if we can. Okay, well we don't have red and we only have shock lands, but we have 5 things to get rid of their things, and they mulliganed, so hopefully we can just keep them off of gas for long enough. I really don't like seeing the one Vraska's Contempt that we kept in our opener here, but so it goes. Do I shock this in? I don't think I do. I don't think I do. Because none of their 1-drops... Okay, good. Actually, I'm just going to do this because I don't think I'm going to Legion's End their Scorch Spitter here. I'm definitely casting this to get rid of any cavalcades that they have. Light Up the Stage or Flame of Keld. Well, they're not casting this for a bit yet. I think I'm supposed to keep them off light Up the Stage here because that reduces their chances of finding another land. If they top deck a land, then maybe that wasn't the best choice, but if they top deck another Light Up the Stage, that would be the worst. Okay. So Footlight Fiend is one of the things that we want to kill with Exile. So let's do that like this. I actually might just be right to put the Regisar down. Discard the Vraska's Contempt, hope that we find a land in the next few turns. This makes it almost impossible for them to get in. Does it seem like the music is way too intermittent to anyone else? Like, it's been playing, but it seems like it's been mostly not playing. Okay, I think this means they have another Spectacle spell. Have you ever seen a Footlight Fiend with -6 health before? Yep. Yep, so that got the Spectacle for them. That's great for them. Alright, I think we get rid of this. Because we just can't play it. Oh, okay, this is nice. So now we can double spell here. We're going to have to discard one of these cards, but I'm pretty much okay with that. So we're going to go... If Legion's on the Firebrand, then they sack it. So I think I like Legion's ending the Scorch Spitter, seeing if we get lucky hitting a second one. Then we'll have a cast down for... We'll see what's in their hand for one. Fry. Well, that's not going to do them any good right now. I will hold this guy until post-combat. So I think we're going to attack here. We need to start clocking them because, as we've seen, they can just, like, you know, do a Flame of Keld and kill us in a couple of turns. Or they can... this will grow our Knight of the Ebon Legion, too. So if they want to kill it with Lightning Strike, they can, but... yeah, or, you know, find Cavalcade, find Chandra, and now they're dealing us, like, all the damage every turn, and we can't block most of it. Yep. Might have been right to hold that guy to discard, because it's just going to die here, but I do like them having to... I do like them having to spend a spell on it, especially when they are stuck on mana. Alright, so... Oops. Resolve that. Discard this because we have 2. Alright, awesome. Lands are good. Oh, right, not on the main phase yet. So we will go in. Alright, they've got to remove it, or keep a blocker back. If they only have one blocker, we can just cast down it, and they're dead. And they can't... What is this? A very odd 1/1, I guess. Okay, so that's all their mana. If they attack, we can just kill them. No such luck. Okay, I'm going to kill this guy because they'll just sack this guy in response, so... Or is it actually... Probably actually better to kill the Firebrand here, because I don't mind how it dies, and this takes them... Well, actually, these can both... This costs mana to deal its damage. So I'll do this because it's harder for them to... It costs more for them to do that here. Obviously I want to cast this here so that I don't spend the mana on my turn. I can take off the hold here now. Thought erasure, well that's a surveil. And now they have to find the removal spell or another blocker. I mean, they will draw 2 cards here, so they got time. I like this, because now they have to get two ways of stopping our damage. Well, Legion Warboss is pretty good. I'll get them in for a damage. That does tap them out if they don't find another land. I think they're dead. Got him. Alright, so this time our opponent had to mulligan instead of us, and we were on the play instead of them. We got there, seeing what kind of work Riding Legisaur puts in, even when it's like a 1 for 3. And I think I'm just going to run this back. I don't think there's anything that I feel like on the play versus on the draw I'd really want to change up. Rekindling Phoenix actually is a really good blocker, because even if they remove it, they have to double spell, but they have to do the same thing with Bolus. And yeah, I just want to keep my curve a little bit lower here. So we saw there how like that Vraska's Contempt was super, super awkward. You know, having 3 lands and a Regisaur and staring at that like this thing isn't going to get cast. Even when we had, you know, 2 black for it. That was really interesting, having basically, like, that, whatever that Sentry or Sentinel is, the artifact creature they played near the end, as, like, Firebrands 4 or 5 through 8, but really slow Firebrands, because they don't have haste and they also cost a mana to do their ping. Because I don't think they have any way of casting as anything other than a 1/1, or of recurring it. We have no red here, and we're probably going to have to go Shockland, or Shockland turn 1. We have a drop Catacombs, so... Alright, I think we're going to take 4 damage here. Put this down, just make sure that if they have a Chandra or have a Cavalcade, we can get rid of it. They do not, but they do have a Chandra, so that's great for us. And now we've got a couple of good removal spells that we can toss on their guys. They can put down a Grim Initiate here. If they find a land, they can Legion Warboss next turn, which is really good for them. We need to find red very badly. I think I'm actually... So we'll take 3 damage this next turn, but I think I'm going to Thought Erasure again. Because if they've found a land... Okay, no land. So I'm going to get rid of the Warboss because most of the... Oh, good. Red mana. So most of the things in our hand can deal with the Spitfire and these guys, but we don't have anything that deals with Warboss on a 1-for-1 basis. Okay, well that's fine, because we can go like this. Actually, we'll put in the stop here. Pass turn. We don't want it to actually go to combat, because these guys, their damage trigger will go on the stack when they attack, and we won't have a chance to do that if we don't put the stop there or hold priority. But we do want to see if they play anything beforehand. Oops. Yeah, don't have the mana to do that. Nor would we want to, even if we did. Actually, maybe we'd... Yeah, that might be too good. Put him on 1 land. Punish him for the low land count this deck usually runs. Hopefully no Spectacle card here. Okay, Scorch... Jeez, Scorch Spitter number 3, I think? Yep. We really need that last land. I think that even though it's more mana efficient to play Bedevil, I'm going to Bedazzle. God, all these names. Here, because if they find another Chandra, I think they usually run 4 Chandra, and I want the ability to... I just want to leave this up as long as possible. Hopefully we'll get a Legion's End for this guy. Yeah, we really need this land. Okay, there we go. Oh, of course they have lava coil, so... oh. What am I talking about? They don't have lava coil. What lava coil? That lava coil that's in their bin? Okay, hopefully they don't find another lava coil. They do not. That is the best thing they could have possibly hit for us. And I think we start racing at this point. I think we play this tapped. I think we... Actually, I'm going to see... no, I'm just going to kill this right now. So we are at a really scary life total, but this deck can... If we give them the time, they will just kill us if we sit back and try to block. So I think we have to do this. Light up the stage is one of the best cards they could have gotten. It finds another light up the stage into a lava coil. Wow. Wow, that was incredible for them. That was legitimately into a Chandra and experiment. Okay, they just... This game is over at this point, I think. I don't believe there's a way back into this for us. But yeah, light up the stage into perfect removal spell, into light up the stage for Frenzy and Chandra is just nuts. Killing this guy only fades 1 damage because they get the token afterwards. So we just need to find another win condition right now. This is not a win condition. Alright, find 1 drop into 1 drop into 1 drop. Wow, opponent is running so hot right now. Well, I guess we'll kill this guy. Yeah, let's see. The burn deck is currently 8 cards ahead of us right now. Alright, they can give that guy haste. That's cool. Well, Knight of the Ebon Legion isn't nothing. I mean, we have enough mana to double pump it. That's one of the reasons we want to play out all of our lands here, along with, you know, like Rotting Regisaur and stuff. Oh my god. Yeah, they got this. They totally got this. Yeah, wow, that was insane. I felt like we were in a not great but okay spot there, but yeah. Draw 4 cards for 2 mana, and those are the cards you draw is, like, we never come back from that. There's no sequence, I think, where we can fight our way back into that. Especially given that we have 25 lands in our deck, and they have 20 usually, because they can afford to run 20 lands because their curve is so low, and they have pay a mana, draw 2 cards. So, and also you don't want too many for your experimental frenzies, so even if it takes you a little longer to get to 4, then that makes your experimental frenzy, once you get to 4, much better, because the thing that turns off your frenzy is often hitting 2 lands in the same turn. Yeah, oh man, that was so brutal. Ah, the spirit who sometimes walks behind me just got home. She does a very cool job. She attends 2 weekdays. Alright. Opponent wins the coin flip again. I will just say hi while they're waiting. Hey you.
Hey you.
How you doing?
Good.
Good.
How are you?
I'm good. I still can't move my neck that far in either direction, but I have a much wider degree of mobility than yesterday.
Good.
Alright. Hand looks pretty good. We've been running really threat light, I feel like, with most of these hands. We didn't reduce the number of threats that we have. I think we still have 17 creatures, 2 Chandra. So, yeah, I'm not sure what the deal is there, but... Probably actually should have let on the Steam Vents, because we can go untap Black Source, and we can't get an untap Red Source, so that's shocking if we want a Chandra for turn 3, after turn 2 Thought Erasure, but that's a pretty minor thing. Okay, it looks like we're up against some kind of field deck, I would guess. Oh no, actually it's just a Gruul deck with some extra... Let's see, how do we line up here? I think this is the guy we want to take out the most. Oh, okay, well. Some people don't like getting Thought Erasured. I guess just a Gruul deck with a little bit of extra dual lands. Because, of course, you know, there's no allied color Scry lands right now, so if you're doing the old two-color allied decks, you sometimes got to do that. Alright, so... oh, I love this new feature, by the way, where you can click View Battlefield and see the final state of the game. It's true that we can't see this better, but, I mean, we kind of know what our opponent had. Gruul stuff. Which means we probably don't like Legion. Warboss. I think I like the Dragon Gods here. Duress. We saw all creatures, so probably don't bring that in. We didn't see any Monodorks, so Disfigure may not be great, but I'm going to leave it anyways. Yeah, extra removal spells. We saw no Planeswalkers there. I'd be surprised if they didn't play any, but I don't like bringing an Elder spell just for if they do. I think I'll take up the Chandras here because we're not going to need to be grinding card advantage in the earlier parts of the game. If we want to do that, we have Bolas here who can just come down and immediately blow something up for basically the same mana cost. Good card, good card, good card. Maybe we cut one of the Disfigures, but they've got to have Monodorks. If you're running Gruul, you have Monodorks, right? Rest of the cards seem good. Okay, so what is the one cut that we make here? Don't want to take out any more threats because we took out Legion Warboss due to being weak versus big creature decks. It's probably the Bedeck Bedazzle. That's the weakest one here. They don't have anything... I don't think this deck runs anything where we need to give them -3 toughness. And, yeah, we don't care about blowing up the lands, so... Seems like a good cut. It's nice to have removal for these decks, but I think that all the removal... That's the worst removal spell that we have there. If they represent Planeswalkers, this game will probably take out the other one and put in an Elder spell. Alright, another great hand. I'd love another removal spell, but we have 3 mana, good colors. I guess we're short on black. Really short on black for Bolas, but... Okay. I guess that it doesn't even matter. Tried so hard. Got so far. Vraska Swarm's Eminence. I just opened one of these yesterday, I think, in my randoms. So you'll see we got some new stuff in the store in the latest patch, so I got a couple of the sleeve packs that I missed the first time around when they took them out without, I think, announcing to anybody that they were taking the guild packs out, or the guild bundles, so I got the Dimir sleeves, I like those a lot, and we play a lot of blue-black stuff. The Izzet and Rakdos ones I'm not as fond of. I like the Dimir ones the most because I kind of like the subtler, I guess, sleeves. And I got the Simic ones too because I like blue-green quite a bit. Alright, we win the coin toss. This hand looks great. I think I'm going to lead on Blood Crypt here because we have nothing that we want to play. We have no 2-drops that we want. So leading on the Swamp is pretty minor. If they play something we want to Disfigure and then we draw a 2-drop that we want to play, that's the only time that we're punished for this. So I think that saving on life is a better deal. Yep, that works out just fine. Now we can play the Steam Vents, let them know exactly what colors we are because we're just nice people like that. Hopefully there's no Thought Erasure here and we can just slam a Chandra. Yeah, well, you can't play Thought Erasure with those colors. You can, however, play Dovin's Veto, so let's see if they got it. They do not right now, at least. Or they passed priority really quickly. I think we're actually plussing first here. The 2 damage this turn isn't terribly relevant. I don't know if these cards are going to do anything, but I don't have any idea what our opponent's on. So, okay, now we're going to do this. So it could be that we end up not having anything relevant to flashback, but I mean, Bedevil always hits something, right? Like, that's never a dead card. Even if this is like Azorius artifact control, it hits artifacts. Okay, well now we're going to see something from their hand, because they're going to have to discard. And they could discard a land, and then we still have no idea what they're doing, but... Okay, it's Esper, just they're missing their black. Wow, this is going to be... Bellhunt was a good discard, because they are a long ways from casting that one. So yeah, 3 dead cards in our hand right now. Blind opponent, still missing black. Chemist's Insight. Do not see that often in decks that aren't like specifically trying to do like combo-y or big mana type things like Nexus decks. Alright. 2 lands from Flipping Bolus. I don't think we would want to. I mean, I guess we could reanimate a Bellhaunt and just BM them a little bit. That would probably be the right play, actually, because we would still have a clock along with Chandra, and then we can draw cards and blow up a Planeswalker. Who am I kidding? Any Planeswalker they play, Bolus gets tucked, because at this point they're on big Teferi and have gone past 3 Fairy by quite a ways. Yep, nothing we're going to play here. Oh, good, another Bedevil is really nice. Alright, we got him in 2 turns, so they've got a... I can't imagine how rough this has got to feel for our opponents. I mean, I imagine their hand needs to be pretty good, because they had this Bellhaunt with no black. And I imagine, you know, they've got all 4 Thought Erasures, because, you know, they always have all 4. But hopefully, whatever they try to stabilize with here... Oh, okay, so this is... It's not a card that I usually see. I wonder why they didn't do that main phase to get the Scry. If they weren't going to interact with our board, I don't really see an upside to doing that. But again, I don't know what... I guess I don't know what this deck actually is, because Chemist's Insight, Precognitive Perception... Not a thing that I see in Esper. Okay, land number 6. Search for Azcanta is coming down a little late, I think. I mean, they do... Oh, they only have 3 cards in their graveyard. And they could slow us down quite a bit if they have removal for our Bolus here. I wonder if they're thinking about Chemist's Insighting here, but this would be really... This would be like the strangest time to Chemist's Insight. Oh, they were thinking about what to discard, okay. So that was a Kaya. I really should have found discard at some point, because, again, I have no clue what our opponent is doing with this deck. Like, it seems like it should be pretty straightforward, but... Okay, there we go. Yeah, we weren't going to play around a settle or anything here, because, you know, we still have the Chandra back either way. It's better just to make them have it. I have been seeing a lot more settle of late, and it really weirds me out. I thought that was not really a thing in the meta any longer, but turns out I was wrong. Okay, so I do not like Disfigure. I do not like Legion's End. Cast Down is probably... Excuse me. Cast Down's probably a lot weaker than Noxious Grasp here, because this kills their Bellhaunts, it kills their Teferis. Cast Down, probably Bellhaunt's the only target for it. I like Warboss because they probably have 3 mana Teferi, and that's just a slick answer to that. I'm going to take out the Bedeck Bedevil here. I mean, this is a way for us to blow up a flipped Azcanta, so maybe we want one. But I just don't know what we cut for it, because I think I like the, you know, have our Legion War Bosses, have our Boluses, and just try to outvalue them. Too bad that this isn't Creature, Planeswalker, or Land. That would be nice, wouldn't it? You know, because God Pharaoh should just be a little more pushed than he is already. Yeah, I think this one's the cut here. I've been thinking about taking out a card or 2 from the sideboard, including the Bedazzle, especially after rotation when there's fewer targets where the -3 is relevant, like Adanto rotates out and everything. And just making that a couple of... Well, I guess you can't run Blood Sun after rotation, but I've been thinking about some of that, some Blood Sun in place of that. I guess we take out this one War Boss. It's good in this matchup, I feel like, but they have Bellhaunts, and you know, 3 is probably fine. 3 is probably fine when they have Bellhaunts that can wall it, and we don't know what else they have. They could have, like, the Elite Guard Mage, stuff like that. Alright, presumably our opponent doesn't miss on one of their colors this entire time, and they... we don't get to just free win like that. Hopefully, at least. Ooh. If only one of these were a shock land, but I'm pretty sure I keep this. If they go like discard, discard, it just wrecks us, but... Okay, so we want to lead Withdrawn Catacombs here so that any come into play untapped land lets us play Thought Erasure. Of course, as we were just discussing, they always have it, so there it is. Hello. Don't notice that I don't have an untapped source and take the Thought Erasure, please. I mean, Thought Erasure might be the right take anyways, but... Yep. Alright, so at least we can play Knight of the Ebon Legion turn 2, which turn 2 Knight of the Ebon Legion is pretty much the same as turn 1 in most circumstances. Ooh, getting that Chandra and having it hidden from them is really good. So I want a source of black and red. So again, any untapped land gives us War Boss, red untapped land gives us Chandra. Good chance this is getting Oath of Kayed and ruining our lives. Oh. Opponent says, hold my beer. Come on, untapped red. Oh, thank you. Okay, so we're going to Chandra here, not mess around. We could put down the War Boss and start getting value off of it, but that's weaker to board wipes. And it leaves their Kaya around. And of course their... Come on. And of course their Kaya can kill the token, so yeah, that's just all kinds of bad for us. Yeah, getting a red Shockland there was fantastic. Hopefully we can stick this Bolus. That's probably not going to happen, but hopefully it happens. Ooh, well, that just got a little more likely here, because we can actually double duress them this turn if we want. Like, if they negate this, we can just do it again. Okay, well, we're taking the Cry, because that will clean answer our... that will clean answer our Bolus. And then I think we just... Or not our Bolus, but, you know, our War Boss. I think that we War Boss, that prices them mostly into playing their Lyra, or this starts taking over the game. And then we can Bolus away their Lyra. It's possible I should have rolled up here, actually, because we do have a spell that we want to flash back. I wasn't thinking about that. Focusing too much on the cards in their hand and not enough on my board. Okay, they did find the land. It's a Field of Ruin. That's interesting for Esper because they run a pretty greedy mana base, but we did see a couple of basics in that last one. Okay, there's the Precognitive, so hopefully... It actually probably was right to rip that Precognitive. But I don't mind too much this eventuality where we can play this... minus Chandra, rip whatever answers they found. Oh yeah, we have a Thought Erasure in here. We don't want to use it though, we just want to use the Duress, because that leaves us on Rekindling Phoenix. Use this one. Okay, we'll take that Absorb for sure. Get in for 5. Got down a hard to answer threat. If they play Lyra here, they know we have the Bolus. I actually didn't realize this card was revealed. I thought that we drew it after they checked our hand out. So, okay, there's the Lyra. So they know that this Lyra's dead, basically. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7... I think we just killed him here, because we dropped Bolus. We destroy target creature or planeswalker. So I think that we would not have... I think that we have lethal here because we made elementals with Chandra on our first turn with her. So it ended up being right, I think, to do that, but it probably would have been better because we had those 2 discard spells to have given her loyalty that first turn. Alright, so there we go, having a nice, pretty competitive game there. We probably should have gotten rid of that that Precognitive Perception, but I was really expecting them just to play out the Lyra there to try to stabilize, because I didn't know that they knew that we had an answer for it. So, yeah, my bad on not realizing that, but it all worked out. You know, Magic is easy, you just have to draw what you need. That's all there is to it. I will take the play, thank you. Ugh, can we keep this? I think we can. I think this is keepable. We have 2 of our 3 basics and no blue. And double Regisar with only 2 lands in our hand, which is terrible. But, I mean, we have 25 lands in this deck, so we have 23 more in the top 53. Thought Erasure makes us really sad, because we can't play it. And them leading on Island makes me think they're probably Mono Blue Tempo or Flash, both of which would be amazing to peek at their hand on turn 1. Well, hopefully they'll just put a thing on this guy. No? Okay, so we're gonna cast this here, because that's going to... I mean, if they have a Spell Pierce or something, that's fine. They're gonna do it to anything. We can then Legions end it and take a look at their hand here, even if we don't get the blue. And that's going to fade a counter, or fade a removal spell on anything else they play in the future. So yeah, let's just do it like that. No land feels super bad. So even if we drew another land that doesn't produce blue, I just would have loved a pump there. You know, take him to 15, get a guy to a 2-3 where it doesn't die to... Alright, well, let's do this. Just keep them off of anything that they can equip a... Curious Obsession onto. Yeah, this is definitely looking more like Mono Blue than Flash. Come on, land. Oh my lord. Remember how we thought this hand looked okay? So I'm going to go in here. I get punished by a Merfolk Trickster that flashes in to kill this guy, but that lets me kill their Terramander and look at their hand, which I'm totally okay with making that trade, because this guy isn't doing anything while we're stuck on lands. And now, this is free. We can see what we have to play around. We get rid of Terramander, which is a really good card for them. Okay, well, there's the Curious Obsession. So this is a great position for them. They have that. They have, if they have a land, they have Lookout's Dispersal. Oh my god, they drew another one. Okay, well, we're probably dead. We kept a kind of greedy hand. I actually don't think it was that greedy, because we've had a lot of hits here where we could have, you know, we had a lot of hits to find any land, basically. There, we finally find it. So they have Spell Pierce, they have Lookout's Dispersal, which they can't play, fortunately, so I guess we'll do this. We'll play this guy. Hope they don't have an Unsummon. Or another Merfolk Trickster. Huh. That's surprising. I wonder why they threw that away. Okay, so question here. What do I get rid of? I think it's just the Contempt. And then I probably just play Regisar and dump Thought Erasure. Because I can't cast... Oh, yeah, see, there you go. That was the right play. So Thought Erasure gets Spell Pierced. Oh, and they can pay through... Or they can cast a Lookout's Dispersal, like hard cast it here. So let's go in. See what they choose to do. If they spend any mana, that's awesome for us. Nope. But I mean, if they don't spend any mana, that's also fine. I'll cast this, let it get countered. Actually, maybe I cast the Thought Erasure, make them spend the Spell Pierce. No. I'd rather play this, hope that we get a creature. Or a land. A land would also do it, because then we can pay through Spell Pierce. Yep. Having these cards get stranded by Regisar is not great, but we definitely needed to get a creature down to block there. I'm amazed that they were willing to just run that guy in there. Okay, so what we want to do is discard this, because it's going to get countered. Get a land. There we go. Thank you. Pay the 2. Thought Erasure. If they have another counterspell, that's fine. That's a thing that... I mean, we need to get this out of our hand because we're going to discard it next turn. Okay, we got another Lookouts Dispersal out of their hand. That's awesome. I actually feel like they might have wanted to Spell Pierce their own Lookouts Dispersal there. And then... Oh wait, no, they couldn't have paid through that. I was thinking and then pay through it, and then be able to pump their Terramander, but they actually couldn't pay through it. So that would not have been a line. So again, we saw there how terrible it is to have Riding Regisaur in play when we can't play any cards, especially. And we just won anyways, because Riding Regisaur is that good. Okay, so I like Duress. I'm actually not super happy with Legion's End here being a sorcery that costs 2, but it might come in anyways because it just hits pretty much everything in their deck. We didn't see any Tempest Djinn there, but I'd be really surprised if they didn't run it. It's not a rotation-proof version of the deck, obviously, because we saw non-rotation-proof cards, so that's not what's going on. Okay, this is a dead card. This is probably a dead card. Chandra is hard to make relevant in this match because she gets hit by Spell Pierce, and it's hard to protect her because they have a lot of flyers. Bedeck Bedazzle, I feel like, is one of the weaker removal spells that we have, but at least it's instant speed, so maybe we, like, cut 2 Legions, and the sorcery speed is a big issue there, because you want to play removal at the end of their turn, so that you make them spend a counterspell then, if they want to protect it. So, I think I like keeping a couple of these in here, because it's a very good card. Like, maybe we Bedeck at the end of their turn, and then we Legion's End on our turn. That's a really, really good line for us. And I like the War Boss here, because most of their guys are pretty tiny, and... even though we can't block, and like we're not blocking with most of our creatures anyways. Maybe I pull one Bedevil for that Bedeck Bedazzle because this is mostly just an expensive Bedeck Bedazzle. I guess this does not kill Tempest Djinn, but we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, I'm going to pull one of the Contempts, bring this in, because they don't have Planeswalkers, so that's less relevant. Oh, I need to put one more card in. Oh, right, I was going to pull just one of those. Yeah, I like that. Let's run it back. So, yeah, opponent... Yeah, if they would have had one... I think if they would have just had one attacker that they could have played to not have to sacrifice the Merfolk Trickster there, they wouldn't have been able to attack into our Regisaur, so they would have had to, you know, find guys to run in to keep those Curious Obsessions around if they wanted to. But also, if we were keeping our guy back to block, we were discarding a card every turn. So that was, like, either way, that wasn't bad for them. And if they would have just held that guy back, they had no plan, apparently, for what they were going to do to capitalize on running it into our guy. So, yeah, just, I don't understand that play at all. I feel like it would have been better for them to have the Curious Obsessions fall off, but they keep their guy around. Opponent goes to 5 here. And I feel like, I have not played this deck before, like, played as this deck. But I feel like it's not a deck that mulligans very well. So this might be really rough for them, because they need to find, you know, a couple decent creatures, or a couple creatures, one that they can stick, Curious Obsession, yeah, and then removal for your stuff, or counterspells for your stuff on time. That's one of the big issues with Mono Blue, is that it's very hard to come back if you fall behind, because you have... Gravedigger. You have very few cards that put you back into the game. Like, your window of opportunity to deal with something is pretty much when it is on the stack. And, excuse me, actually, to a lesser extent, that's the case with... Actually, it's pretty much the same extent. I would say that's true with Simic Flash. Simic Flash, I feel like, can deal with things better because it has Frilled Mystic, which is a really good 2-for-1. You know, counter one thing, kill another thing once it's on the board already. And it has Wolf, which just... or Netpack Ambusher, as it is actually called, which just can generate so much value. Oh boy. Man, these colors have been looking bad for us. We run 14 sources of black. We want to find one in the top card, or we can't do anything. I think that's way, way too greedy. Okay, this is so much better. We don't have red for Bolas. We're probably putting one of these 2 Bolases back. But yeah, we can cast our Thought Erasure, we can cast Down. And if, as we all know, Thought Erasure is the best card. If we could run 12, we would. No, we wouldn't, but we'd run more than 4, that is for sure. Okay, well that is not the land we wanted to see, but lands are pretty good a lot of the time. Okay, well, shifting Ceratops we can kill with Cast Down. I feel like we want to get rid of that more than we want to get rid of Spellbreaker. Especially because I assume that they will haste in Spellbreaker, and then if we're lucky we can just plop a Bolus down in front of it. There we go. The next turn. Actually, I guess they're going to cast the Spellbreaker right here, aren't they? But that's alright. We'll take 3. We can... yeah, we take 3 damage. I assume that's what they're doing here. Oh, they found a Domri. That's very good for them. They can't do anything with him this turn, which is good for us. So what we're going to do is assume they play Ceratops next turn. Put this in tapped. We actually want to hope that they play Ceratops next turn. Four, 5. Oh, they play the Kiora. I really would have preferred the Ceratops, honestly. Because then we could have just cast a Cast Down on it. They can't still cast it, right? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, they only have 3 mana up. So they're going to do the Spellbreaker, I assume. Although if their last card is also good, then they're going to be super sad that they have to discard one of these 2 and didn't just jam out the Ceratops. And we can cast down Llanowar Elves, but after what we saw there, we kind of see the whole thing played out for us. Hopefully they had red there. Yeah, okay. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to cast their Spellbreaker. So we really want this guy to be hasted, which usually seems like... Oh, that's right, but Domri's going to make it big enough that it will tangle with Bolus, and then they can just fight it. Well, that's really bad for us. If we're going to cast down it, we can't do it now. Yeah, that's really awkward. We just want another removal spell here, honestly. But no such luck. So we can cast down, then the Shifting Ceratops comes down and cleans our clock. So I think we just have to do this. This is not a very good play, but I think it's the best one that we have. They have enough to haste their guy. They can have either one of their guys fight Bolus, so we just trade 2 for 1 effectively there. Because this is a fight effect, right? Not deals damage, yeah. I mean, if we're really lucky, they'd play conservative, but I don't know why they would do that because they're so far in the lead. Oh yeah, I forgot about Kiora's passive. That's drawn him 2 cards so far. That's really good. Yeah, their top decking Domri right there was really, really nice. What did I rip from their hand? Yeah, I think that if they would have had the... Oh, that's protection from blue. Yeah, that wrecked us. Yeah, that was an incredible line for them. Getting the Domri off the top that they could play, that we couldn't Thought Erasure, getting it for 10 here. Yeah, we're just going to give them the good game and go to game 2. Because if we would have been able to rip that Domri, they get out the Ceratops, we cast down the Ceratops, they have another Ceratops, but they can't fight our Bolus, so we're effectively just racing 5 damage versus 4 damage with a lot more inevitability, and almost enough lands to flip Bolus right there. So that all seems pretty good. So Noxious Grasp was obviously great here. Pull out the Chandras because it's hard to get the value out of her. Pull out the War Bosses probably because also hard to get the value out of them. We saw a lot of Planeswalkers there, so we're probably going to want those. And maybe... I think I like the Elder Spells. The green-red decks tend to run a lot of Planeswalkers. Question is, do we like... How much do we like Legion's End? I don't think that I like Vraska's Contempt here. It's nice in Game 1, but in Game 2, if we sort of know, okay, we want a couple of Elder Spells, then we have, Bedevil is effectively the same, but cheaper. I don't think they have any... Well, they probably have Cavaliers, actually, don't they? So we want to leave those in. I think that Bolus is too slow and too greedy for us here. I don't think I want the 4th Legion's End because, while we do want to be able to hit some of the... I think I actually like 2 Legion's End, 2 Disfigure here, so we'll go down 1. And just try that out. Again, while I sometimes like cutting some top end from games like this, the fact that Legion Warboss is really weak here means that I want to cut it. We do cut Legion's Warboss a lot, but I like having a higher number of threats for the games where it's nice to have those threats. And yeah, just the I don't want to pull down any more of our top-end threats because then we don't have any threats left, and we need threats. And also the evasion is pretty good. If they have Cavalier of Thorns out, then obviously that makes us sad. Also, they can give their Ceratops reach, but Ceratops we can deal with pretty easily with our creature removal, so hopefully we can play around that. And as we've mentioned before, this is definitely a tough matchup for this deck because their creatures are just so big and so hard to deal with a lot of the time, and then if you deal with the creatures, they have a lot of Planeswalker value. Well, I like that. Just going to run out the duress because turn 2 we might want to Legion's End a Llanowar Elf. A Llanowar Elves, technically, but that sounds really weird, so... Legion's End some Llanowar Elves? I don't know. Grammar is hard when it comes to Magic the Gathering card names and pluralization. Our opponent mulligans again. For those of you who feel like we're mulliganing a lot more than we were in some of our previous videos, that is because we're in best of 3 right now. And in best of 3, you just get whatever the auto shuffler deals you. In best of 1, it shuffles up 2 hands. Well, that's not many targets, but it is 1. All right, this is Sultai, not Gruul. I should have been saying that, but it looked like a Gruul deck. Everything they played was Gruul. They just had a Temple of Mystery too. So it shuffles up 2 different hands. It looks for the one that has the best ratio of lands to non-lands. So I think it prefers 3 lands, 4 non-lands, and then 4 and then vice versa. And then I don't know what the algorithm is after that point, but so it tries to mitigate some of the issues with best of 1 being so swingy from like one person gets a bad hand and then that's 100% of the games instead of 50 to 33% of the games they play. Stuff like that. Unfortunately, that's nothing to mitigate the you're on the play 100% or 0% of the time, which is a big issue. Opponent's really stumbling here, so I think I just like going in for the 1 damage, playing this Regisaur. Any of their 1 and 2 drops, I don't think we're going to care about Legion's ending. I mean, I guess we could hope that they... Okay, well, there we go. Oops, that was hello. I meant to say good game. Ah, blast. Now I look like a jerk. Maybe. I don't know. Opponents probably made mistakes too in their time. So I think the only sideboarding changes I would make game 2 to game 3 here would probably be to bring in 1 mana spot removal to deal with getting back into the game if they have turn 1 mana dork, but we already have all of our 1 mana spot removal. I probably should have a 3rd Disfigure for cases like that. Also, I might, in games where I'd otherwise leave in Warboss, I might pull it out here. But, yeah, maybe we bring in an extra deck Bedazzle here. But I don't think there's anything we want to cut for it. Just, you know, just to increase our amount of low CMC removal. Like, maybe it would be right there, actually, to trade that out for a Bedevil. But I do like the ability to hit Planeswalkers with Bedevil. And, of course, Vraska's Contempt for the Cavaliers that I assume they have in there. Like, those are, like, probably the 2 best Cavaliers, I would say, are the green one and the blue one. The black one, of course, is great, but it takes some more synergy. You know, they're all very good. But just, I feel like you can throw those 2 into any creature-y, beat-downy deck and be happy. Opponent sideboarding in the Monodorks they took out for game 2, apparently. Probably not. I mean, Monodorks are amazing on the play, but they're still amazing on the draw, too, so I don't think you change that up at all. Maybe we'll get lucky and they'll click draw. That'd be awesome. It is very nice, you know, best of 3. Either you win all of your games or you're guaranteed at least 1 game on the play. That is a very nice thing to smooth that out. But it still does feel like it's often a coin flip because stealing that one first, stealing game 1 off of your on the play does happen with considerable frequency, and it just, you know, then you're in such a good position to win the match because you're guaranteed to either, again, just win, or no removal but Elder Spell, but we have Knight and good colors and a top end, yeah. We have a lot of removal, we'll probably draw into it. And if not, we'll die. Okay, what is going on? What is going on, you guys? This is belated, but I'm gonna give them the nice because they turn one bag of holding to us. Transformational sideboard into salty things? I mean, sweet. I don't know if I actually offer this trade, to be honest. No, I offer this trade. Because I'm not going to be pumping this knight for a while. I'm going to want to play Rotting Registrar next turn. If they don't block, cool, I got in for a damage. If they do block, cool, I blew up one of their lands for 1 mana, effectively. We're going to go with this. Actually, no, we're going to go with Watery Grave, because that gives us double black untapped next turn if they happen to go like Vivian or something like that. Whoa, are they... They have no lands and no 3-drops. Oh my god. Okay, we're definitely shocking in here. Because we're either pumping or playing Registrar. Where's the music? Where's the music, guys? I don't like this. I don't like this silence. It's foreboding. Alright, so I believe that the play here is probably... I think I actually like swing, pump, because I don't... I like holding up all this removal because we're so far ahead. I like holding up this removal because we can probably deal with anything that they play next turn if we need to. And then we'll have Rekindling Phoenix, and then we can look at doing Registrar after that point. I just don't feel like it's going to be good for us to... Looking at their bag of holding here, it looks like. I just don't think it's going to be good for us to play the Rotting Registrar here when we have so many reactive spells and we can just keep on killing all their stuff while they're missing land drops. If they have like Assassin's Trophy or something here off of the Paradise Druid making black, I will cry really hard. But I mean, also that gives us another land, which is great when we want to squeeze out as many spells as fast as we can because we have Registrar in our hand. Well, that feels like a pretty good card to ditch right now, because they're not casting Skargan Hellkite for quite a while. Because they're looting here, so they're going to get to 4 mana, 5 mana, or at least get to more dorks or something like that. So I want to have these nice reactive spells. Ooh, Lava Coil. Okay. So I actually really like that we got that Lava Coil out of their hand, because now we can go Rekindling Phoenix. Or Bolus. That's also good. Although, I think I actually like the Phoenix more, because they have a lot of cards in their hand that they can't cast. So I think I like letting them try to find a land, cast a lower value spell, try to deal with this really resilient threat that we have. If they can't, cool, we have them on a short clock. If they can, that's removal that they... Okay, they run counter spells. Huh. I got nothing. I have legitimately no idea. I thought this was a Gruul beatdown deck. What am I looking at? Alright, well I really like this. If they have another Quench, that lets us play the Registrar through that. If they don't, then we still have Bedevil up. I mean, if they have Quench, they probably have things like Negate at this point. So they can probably get rid of these things. But yeah, I think that I like, because we know they have a non-zero number of Quench. Don't tap like that. Leave us on our colors, please. It doesn't actually matter what we leave up. But yeah, I think we're playing this one out here. Just to start clocking them. get a threat around any counterspells they can have, probably. They could syncopate it, actually, because they have 3 mana. Oh, no, they can't. Yeah, get that guy out. We probably discard Elder Spell, because I don't think they're resolving multiple Planeswalkers on us this turn, and we have multiple Bedevils for them. Ooh, Grixis gets ditched. What are they holding? Because if they find the land, that's, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The cast for X equals 4, draw 2, gain 2. That gets them out of this hole pretty easily. I should probably think about bedeviling this Bag of Holding, honestly. I mean, I want to get a threat down first, but we can, like, go to end step, wait for them to hopefully loot again. Actually, they might just return it now. Like, not now, but this turn. So they have a couple of chump blockers for our Rotting Regisaur. They get this back into their hand, the Hydroid Crisis, now that they have lands to get a pretty decent one out. Yeah, I wasn't even thinking... Bedevil the Beatdown deck's Bag of Holding was not a line that had crossed my mind, if I'm going to be completely and genuinely honest with you. Oh, they had another Hydroid Crisis, or drew into another one. So now I wish we had a Legion's Landing, that would be great. But, I mean... Bolas is going to be really good here. Maybe we actually do want to blow up the Bag of Holding. If we get a land, that puts us on 6, so we can kill 2 things. Yeah, we're tossing Elder Spell here. Nice. Alright, we're going to go in first. Oh, they don't have enough power. They're not representing enough power right now to kill our Regisaur. But if they did actually try to put multiple blockers in front and kill it, that would be great, because we would just bedevil one of their creatures, and then we would trade up really hard. Alright, so they're dead after one more connection here. I really like getting rid of this Bag of Holding, honestly. It'll cost them a lot of mana to do so, but it will get them some really good cards. So, while they're tapped out and cannot activate it even, not a line I ever thought I would take. Veil of Summer, okay. Well. Let's do it again. That was still really good for them, because they got our other removal spell out of our hand, and now we have to discard Bolas, but I feel like at this point on this board state, giving them Skargan, Hellkite, and another Hydroid Crisis, even if they have to spend 4 mana on it, we probably can't let them do that, because then they have chump blockers for our Rotting Regisaur, and they can just resolve some cards that get them right back into the game. Importantly, you cannot respond to the sacrifice trigger and kill Bag of Holding, because sacrificing is part of the cost and you cannot respond to costs. Even if you could do that, oh, does this do anything for them? So it doesn't let them fight our Rotting Regisaur down right now, at least. Yeah, I mean, they're taking us to 8 here. This is actually pretty smart for them. They know that we can't kill their Paradise Druid because it has hexproof right now. So, yeah, that put them in a really good position, getting that couple extra... Oh, if they tap this guy down, that's a huge... Okay. Well, I'm pretty sure we do this. We make them block. Actually, I should have cast my cast down first on the Hydroid Crisis, because I would need to hold back to block Llanowar Elves if they have another counter here, but they do not. Okay. Alright, so we're not dead. They have... Oh, there they go. Find the Ceratops and get there. Yeah, I think that critical turn was having the 1 mana up for their Veil of Summer there, which is such a good card. Because without that, we'd have been able to kill their Domri or their Ceratops, or have killed the Hydroid Krasis with our other removal spell. So that was a really, really clutch turn for them, making us double spell that. And I still think that that was the right choice to double spell the Bag of Holding, because again, we saw they got 2 threats, and they were able to kill us with those 2 threats. If we would have let them have those 2 threats for free, just guaranteed into your hand, I don't think we could have put together enough threat to make them chump block, or enough removal spells to get rid of all their guys. Well, that looks fantastic. We need another red if you want to cast Chandra, but other than that, it'd be nice to have maybe not have to shock ourselves down to 12 if we want to play exactly on curve with these lands, but we'll probably either play things that we can play with, draw things that we can play without shocking ourselves, or draw a few non-shock lands now that we've drawn a full third of them. And we could be going up against where our life total doesn't really even matter that much. I guess we'll find out on turn 2. Let's give them a hello. Island Terramander. Well, that's going to make turn 2 Thought Erasure really good. Which one of these do I shock in? I think it's this one for the red. Let's do this right now. I don't think this changes any of their lines at all. Well, let's take that. Hopefully they'll leave themselves vulnerable to Bedevil on their... on their Tempest Djinn. Do I like a second Knight of the Ebon Legion here? Well, they can't deal with the one that's on the board right now, and we're not blocking. And multiple Knights are good once you start connecting with pumped ones, but it looks like it's going to be a while before that happens, so I just want to try to find a little more interaction, or another discard spell or something like that. Or a Chandra would be fantastic if we can land her. You are none of the things that gives cost reducers to this, so we will do this. We will not be pumping this turn, so we will... Actually, I think you want to play this in case they flash something in. Then we can pump and kill without spending a card. Like if they go Merfolk Trickster or something. They do not, okay. So we'll do that. And then we will disfigure here, hopefully through their counter magic, because they have nothing else in their hand that this kills. And yeah, I think these spells are both dead right now, right? This is not a wizard. That is not a pirate. Yeah. Although they were thinking about something there. Alright, ran out the Tempest Djinn. If you only got 3 cards, how could it possibly be removal in here? Grixis doesn't run removal. I think they're on unsummon here. Oh, Merfolk Trickster, okay. So you do that. Tap our Knight. I don't like them doing this here. They should have waited until we were passing to combat, because that's probably gonna... That could very well change the way that this turn plays out for us, depending on what we draw here. Yeah, they probably should have held up a counterspell. Yeah, I really do not like that play from them. They probably would have resolved this guy either way, because we'd have gone to combat. I assume they flash in the Trickster there. And then we'd be able to resolve Bolus, but... Now this guy is a wizard, so it will give them the cost reduction. However, okay, they scoop it up. Yeah, that was a very timely Bolus. I feel very good about putting that Knight of the Ebon Legion back after finding that guy. As timely as we did, or not putting it back, but discarding it. Thought Erasure is so good. That Surveil is, one, it puts another interesting decision point into the game, which is really cool. Excuse me. And then 2, it's just really good at Like, if you really know your deck and you know your lines and things like that, it really rewards you. And it punishes it punishes mistakes. So I think it's really nice having things like Scry and Surveil and all that in the game. Alright, so I think we're running this down largely how we did before. I like... Yeah, Chandra is kind of awkward to get value out of because they can attack her down really easily, and Counterspeller. I think I'd actually like all the Duresses because they have so many counterspells and we just want to run them out, run them dry, and they almost always have cards in hand because they're so reactive. Noxious Grasp is dead, Elder Spell. Usually dead, although every once in a while there's a rogue Mu Yanling in these lists, but we'll bring it in if we see her, and even then we probably won't bring it in. I like trimming the Vraska's Contempt for a Bedazzle, because these can all kill their Tempest Djinns, and this one's just really expensive. Mage's Zen kills most of their small stuff, but is sorcery speed and doesn't hit Djinn, so I think this is a pretty good way of running it down. And of course, having large flyers is really nice here. Do I actually want to take out that War Boss? I don't think so. It's not that easy for them to deal with a War Boss because they have a hard time with going wide, and they have a hard time, you know, Tempest Djinn is pretty much the only thing that has more than one toughness in their deck, as far as I know. Curious Obsession can get them there, of course, but it's very hard to have a creature that has Curious Obsession on it untapped to block. Well, we have no cheap spot removal here. I think we have to ship this. This hand looks really enticing because we have so many good cards and perfect mana. Except for we need one more red for Chandra, who we took out, so never mind. But yeah, we have nothing that we can do in the early turns of the game. Oh, this is not great, but I think I'm keeping it because we have a lot of lands. There are a lot of lands in this deck. I think I'm taking out one Knight of the Ebon Legion because God knows we don't need all three of them. And just hoping that we find a land in the next 2 turns. Like that. It even gives us Thought Erasure. Of course, I could just go Curious Obsession, ruin our lives, but... And it looks like that's what's going to happen. Yep. So with no removal spell here, that really sucks for us. Okay, so do we... I think we Thought Erasure here, because we only have one removal spell, and we really, really want it not to get countered, because we want to get rid of this Terramander. So... either this gets countered, and that's... Oh, boy, they don't have any counters. Well, they have Essence Capture, but that's not going to hit it. So we get rid of this Curious Obsession. Leave that on the top all day, because then we can cast down and Knight of the Ebon Legion. Hopefully they have 2 draws here to find a counterspell. Hopefully they just don't. Alright, so I really like doing this, where I play this guy, swing, see if we can get them to commit their mana. Nope. Play this, make sure we don't tap off of blue. This is weak to Spell Pierce because it buffs their Terramander further, but I think that trying to bait out mana so they only have Spell Pierce as an out. Yeah, there we go. Now we have Thought Erasure or War Boss or Pump, depending on what we need. Looks like Pump is what we need. All you need is Pump. We can't outrace this, though, can we? I mean, we grow faster than them. Well, I think the first play is just to swing. See if they feel like blocking. Please block, opponent. Please block. We only had one removal spell. We mulliganed. Please give this to us. Rats. So they probably have us on 3 turns here. So the question is, how do we best kill them in 3 turns? And I think the answer is we have to just hope that we can get in with War Boss, because we can't race them with just Knight of the Ebon Legion here. Or can we? Can we? Yeah, we can. We take them to 14. They take us to 10. We take the... No. Sorry, opponent. This is going to take some math. We get them for 4, then 5, then 6. That's 15. That does not get us there. Okay, so we have to commit more power to the board here. Or at least try to. Okay. Playing this guy pre-combat wouldn't have done anything because the Tempest Djinn almost... That's just a free block on the token. Okay, well Storm Tamer is great for them. But Registrar is great for us, so... Question is, do we Thought Erase for them? And I think the answer is no, we just have to try to race. Okay. Fine with that, because I wasn't going to pump that guy anyways. And we're still dealing 4, so we still pump him. So we're dealing 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. So we can't afford to Thought Erasure. We just have to play this Regisar. Because I think we would take them to 1. Okay. There they go. I think we take them to 1, and then we lose. Unless we get a top deck that is very live. That is not a very live top deck. So, well, let's do this. And do this. And I believe that they just barely survive. Okay, we take them to 2. Boy, close game. I thought we might have had him with that play on the... when we got him on the Curious Obsession. And also just being able to sequence our plays really well in the early turns, but not having a roll for the Tempest Djinn there really, really wrecked us. I actually don't like them when they chumped the Knight of the Ebon Legion, because well, I guess that did change the clock for us, because they would have been dead there. So yeah, that was definitely right for them. Never mind. Ignore what I'm saying. I don't think we change anything here. I'm not a fan of the Vraska's Contempts, but, you know, we just need a couple of spells that deal with Tempest Djinn. I guess we have 4 if we get rid of this one. And we have 6 blockers that can trade with it. Favorably in both cases. So, I guess it's alright. Oh, I need to put another card in. So we put in another Legion's End to deal with their little guys. I mean, do we just bring in a Bolus to try to outvalue them? I don't think so. That seems terrible when we're trying to play the tempo game, even on the play. Yeah, let's bring in one more Legion's End. They have Storm Tamer, Spectral Sailor. Those are all good targets for Legion's End, even if Storm Tamer is almost impossible to get the... Oh, and Terramander. Even if Storm Tamer, it's almost impossible to get the Exile on them, because unless they're tapped out, they can just sacrifice it. Still remove the spell, but we don't get to peek at their hand and maybe pull some extra stuff out. Ooh, this is... Oh, this isn't that great, because we don't have untapped mana, but keeping it anyways, because we can go turn 2, Disfigure a thing. Maybe play Knight of the Ebon Legion too if we happen to get that lucky. Then we've got Bedeck Bedazzle, and we've got a really good Curve Topper here. Basically their only way of... Well, actually, I guess they can Merfolk Trickster and then trade in combat with Rekindling Phoenix, can't they? I think I'm leading on Drawn Catacombs in case... Well, there's no way that happens. I'm doing it anyways. Make them fear the Thought Erasure more. No whammy. Oh, okay. That improves our lot significantly here. Spell Pierce would be good for them, but I'm still fine trading a Spell Pierce for our off-the-curve Duress. Yep, do it. That's a Spell Pierce that can't protect whatever they play here. More tapped lands, cool. Well, we want double red, so we're going to play this one. We'll play this one. I'd rather they counter this guy than the Disfigure if they have a 1-mana counter for creatures somehow. Actually, there's no such thing, obviously, as I was kind of insinuating there, so I'm going to play this first and keep them off of information. I'm not going to be cute and try to snipe it while they have Curious Obsession on the stack or something, although I'd love to have had an untapped land so I could Bedeck Bedazzle here if they do counter that. Okay, so very, very slow lands for us, but... Okay, Spectral Sailors that they were holding up for. So they can still get off a nice little Curious Obsession here. But we have run them out of a lot of resources. They get another draw here. But hopefully... Ooh, they miss on land. Okay, well here's an untapped Mana Source, so that's great. I think I honestly just play the Rekindling Phoenix, because that will wall their Spectral Sailor pretty hard. It gets punished by if they have Merfolk Trickster in hand. Yeah, we probably just have to try to kill this thing. They only have Spell Pierce that can counter it right now, and they've already cast one. I don't think we've seen that many Spell Pierces so far, so... They could flash in a Spectral Sailor here, but that just dies, doesn't do anything to us, so... Yeah, so I think we have to run this out here, because this is dead to, I think, fewer things than the probably 4 Merfolk Tricksters they have in there. Come on. I really wish it hadn't tapped us off blue there, but oh, they have a second Spell Pierce. Oh, we have 2. Okay, never mind. Yeah, we'll pay 2. I totally was not even thinking about the fact that the swamp came into play untapped, because I was just resigned to everything is coming into play tapped. Well, that's good against Rekindling Phoenix, but it's terrible against Knight of the Ebon Legion, so I guess we'll take it. I mean, it wears a Curious Obsession really well, but... hopefully they just... Oh, of course they have it. They've drawn an extra card, of course they have Curious Obsession in hand. So hopefully we find our other Disfigure. I think that's the only thing we have that deals with this right now. Oh, Vraska's Contempt. And Legion's End. Okay. So we've got a couple things. Yeah, I probably should have played the Rekindling Phoenix there while they were tapped out. That was a very bad move on my part. I was just thinking, I can't block the Cerulean Drake, so why do I care? But, I mean, obviously I care. I'm going to put this down to threaten double pumps. Actually, so double pumps are really weak to unsummon, which I imagine they play. So I'm going to go and see what happens. Nothing. Two, 5, 8. I don't think they really have anything that can counter our Rekindling Phoenix here, so I think I'm just going in for the 2. I should have definitely played this differently. It looks like they're definitely considering something there, so... yeah, we have to pay 2 red for this. And they could have Quench, but Wizard's Retort isn't live right now. Oh, that's right, they have Essence Capture. Shoot, I forgot about that one. Oh, Major Punish. Major Punish. I should have played that really differently. Yeah, Essence Capture is not a card that I see that often, so I don't know if it's like a standard card for this deck or what, but well, we're going to find out exactly what they have right now, or at least draw out another counterspell. Okay, yep. So we did sniff out that unsummon correctly. It's just that they also had something to punish the card that we did play, so... well, I guess it's Wizard's Retort, because they can pay for any of these things now. Oh, wait, but they can't... No, they can't... they're tapped down by 1. So we take the Essence Capture, get that thing out of our lives as quickly as we can. Play the Knight again. You're just going to put this down. Alright, so they kind of had us in a this is no good no matter what we do position, but yeah, that said, we definitely screwed up with the Rekindling Phoenix play by not playing that and just pumping Knight instead. So yeah, opponent deserves this win for sure. They're playing this really well, and we had a huge misplay there. Although we're not out of this. I mean, they're getting an extra card every turn, but if none of those cards are going to stabilize them, I'm pretty sure we win this race. Of course, a lot of their cards stabilize them, so that's the issue. Well, nothing yet. I'm going to make them play scared by keeping this Blood Crypt in hand. I don't think that having this mana available next turn will do anything for us, because it won't let us do a third pump, which won't even be relevant as far as I can see. If they don't attack here, that means that they need chump blockers. Okay, so they probably have an answer, or think that they can draw it with this card, but that seems unlikely. Alright, so we need a removal spell. Eh. It's not removal, but we will take it. So anyway, the other reason that I didn't put this down last turn was because us being at 7 here versus being at 5, I don't think makes a difference. So even if we did have to shock this in, I think we're fine either way. Alright, let's see what our opponent doesn't want to keep. We will play this because if we want to flip Bolus, I don't think that's what we do. But, I mean, all our cards are on the table at this point. We're either our opponent puts together the line here, or they either put the line together here and then we are probably dead, or they don't and they are dead. And it looks like they are dead. They technically had one turn here because they could have chumped with Cerulean Drake. But, yeah, I don't feel good about that win. I feel like our opponent definitely deserved that one, and I had a huge misplay there. Especially not, remembering the Essence Scatter from before. But I feel like we played pretty well too. It's just that it's really easy to see those gigantic mistakes that you make in retrospect. Ooh, Time Wipe, that's a nice card. I will take it. I'll take a free Time Wipe. And it's not even rotating. Alright. Well, we've been going for a while, but also, it's Friday. So, I feel like I can keep going for a bit. I may have some game demoing to do tomorrow for the game that we have on Kickstarter at the moment, but that probably won't be very early anyways. Did we play this person earlier? That name looks familiar. One thing that I feel is impressive with this new version of the deck, nice hand, compared to previous versions, is that previously it felt like we didn't have a whole lot of a game plan versus... I have to restart the client. We didn't have a great game plan versus things like Bant Ramp, Field of the Dead decks, things like that. And this version has actually been putting up pretty good results against them. I think we just ended up with... Whoa, what's going on? Oh, Reanimator. Sultai Reanimator. Okay, got it. I mean, we're going to know what's going on now, but... Yeah, so I feel like our matchup there has improved quite a bit. I feel like it's the Tamiyo here. I mean, Stitcher Supplier... So the Massacre Girl doesn't do a whole lot. Stitcher Supplier does let them mill a little bit and then chump blocks, but Tamiyo just represents... Well, yeah, Tamiyo gets something back immediately or mills them for a ton. It's effectively mills them for 6. Oh, we can Legion it away. Okay. And Connive Concoct, I feel like we just need to find a way of dealing with. Do we want yet another one of these cards? I think the answer is yes, we do, because we have another threat in hand already. We have a Legion's End here. We have a Bedevil for if they find another Tamiyo. But then after that, if they reanimate a thing, we won't have any answers. Well, there's a couple more spells for them. That's nice. So I imagine they just pump, or they just block here, and we get in for nothing, and then they get more mill. So I'm just going to do this, cleanly answer that, see what card they drew. Swamp. It would be great to clock them harder here, but also impractical. Play this because we have no double blue on our deck. There's only 8 blue cards in the main deck here. I think there's a couple more on the sideboard, but it's just the 4th Auto Erasure and 4 Nicol Bolas right now. Oh, and then there's the Nicol Bolas God Pharaoh, Dragon God, whichever one it is. Whatever he's calling himself these days. Okay, so we could go in with a pump, but I think I prefer playing Legion Warboss, just getting more of our hand down so that when we play Rotting Regisar, we have fewer things we need to empty. I assume that their Fibblethip probably trades here. I don't know how... And I guess if they have a 3rd Massacre Girl, we're in a terrible spot here. Wait, can they, Oops. I forgot that they can... I forgot that they can reanimate with Connive Concoct. This was a huge misplay. Yeah, they can just put that Massacre Girl out. So playing Legion Warboss actually... Yeah. Playing Legion Warboss actually killed our Knight of the Ebon Legion. That was an enormous mistake. I imagine that them tanking on this means that they have some cards that are pretty good and they're thinking about the ordering. Surveil 3 is actually... Ooh boy, and there's an Agent of Treachery. Well, that was a very good turn for them. Yeah, we definitely needed some way of getting rid of that. We could have gotten rid of it instead of their Tameo, but then their Tameo gets it back for the same mana cost. It takes them 1 extra turn, but... I mean, who cares at that point? So I think what we have to do is... So, oh man, they're going to sack their token. I'll get Massacre... Well, that'll just kill everything. I don't think they even want to do that. I have no idea what our outs are here. Because they're going to get back... They can get back something whenever they want to. I think we're just going to do this. Put a stop in there. Go to their turn. They passed a combat. We'll probably bedevil the Legion Warboss because we just can't really deal with it right now. It looks like they're going to sacrifice for Blood for Bones right now. That doesn't seem great unless they have tapping very specifically here. So maybe they're playing another card. This is the deck I've only played against once or twice. I've seen it played a lot on streams and things like that in tournaments, but yeah, okay, it's the Blood for Bones. I just wanted to keep up the digital backwater, or backwater, whatever it's called. Yep, that resolves. So it looks like they're just gonna... Oh, they have a Yarok in there. I kind of missed that one, but... They get back Fibblethip. Are they playing main phase? Okay, they're just shocking in for now. Well, I mean, okay. So I think we pass here. Well, no, because if we do that, then we can't kill any of their actual... But yeah. No, we pass here. We'll see what they do. If they go in with Legion Warboss, we'll just pump Knight of the Ebon Legion and kill it. If they go in with just this guy, they're going with their entire side? Oh, it might have just been they did the... Sometimes when you click one of the has to attack... Oh, no. Okay. That guy gets pumped. See, I don't really see what our outs are here, so this is very awkward. I mean, maybe they're trying to kill this guy so they can reanimate? Something like Command the... I don't know. They have a... Okay, Tyrant Scorn. Oh, that's what they're shotgun for. Okay, got it. I should have seen that coming, actually. Yeah, they've pretty much got this one on lock. It's really, really hard to beat a turn 5 Agent of Treachery. I mean, it would have been really hard to beat a turn 5 Massacre Girl there, too, because we misplayed around that. But, yeah, Agent of Treachery is a disgustingly good card, especially when you're running really, really high-value creatures like this. I do have seems like we're pretty... Yeah, I forgot to restart the client, which I really need to do. Okay, so I really like Duress here. I really like Chandra here. I like War Boss a fair amount. I don't think that I like Elder Spell that much. I like a couple Legions, and Bedeck Bedazzle seems pretty weak. I think it's pretty much just Tamiyo for this deck, so yeah, I don't think that goes in. Noxious Grasp seems better than Cast Down, because it still kills Tamiyo, it still kills Yarok. It doesn't kill Agent of Treachery, but that's not really a guy. Like, if they're getting to the point where they're drawing off Agent of Treachery, you've lost anyways. And yeah, being able to kill Yarok instead of not being able to kill Yarok is pretty good. Do I like Bolus here, I wonder? I mean, I might actually... It's probably right to bring in the Unmoored Egos now that I'm looking at it. Pull out one of... Actually, maybe pull out the Legion's Ends, because it really just kills Stitcher Supplier, which I don't think that's reason enough to have it in there. Vraska's Contempt is great here. Oh, Disfigure doesn't really do anything. I need to make one more cut. I mean, we don't need to. We could run it back with this many, with 61 cards. Could trim a land or something too, but that doesn't seem like we want to do that. We want to be matching pace with their spells. Whoa, what? We had 30 seconds left on our clock there when that sent us back into this game. So that leads me to believe that that time that the game is just sort of... Where the game is just sort of like, you know, you saw how long we sat there on a black screen. So that just tells me that their client... or their server and the client here are not synced up at all, and that feel like that's pretty... That is not good. I mean, I know it's still a beta and everything, but you kind of forget that sometimes because this is a pretty well-polished beta, but then there's sometimes like that when you don't get to sideboard because you have 30 seconds, you're about to submit, but then it turns out that no, we just aren't communicating with the server. Although it is nice that answers the question of why we would get times when we had time left on the clock, and then it booted us from sideboarding. I think it's probably Chart a Course here. Making Vraska's Contempt... Well, oh, we don't have... We don't have a fourth land, which would let us kill the Tomebound Lich. I think the fact that this guy's just going to stonewall us, we just need to take that... Okay, well, there it is now. But... So I think this next turn we're probably just running down Regisar. I assume that they, yeah, cast that Chart a Course. Because this lets them put a thing into the graveyard, but so does Tomebound Lich, and then that also trades with one of our guys. So, yeah, that's not good. Yeah, I don't think that we can afford to just, like, sit on cards here. I think we just have to try to beat them down as quickly as possible. And I think we'll discard the Vraska's Contempt and just... Well... If we discard land and then draw one of our 4-drops, we can then discard the Vraska's Contempt. So I guess we'll keep that. I think that's pretty good. Alright, here's 11. What do you got? I guess the stop there is totally inconsequential, but I'm going to do it anyways because it's a good practice. Okay, well, we beat him without sideboarding. I was actually considering just scooping that one up because beating that deck without sideboarding when it's, you know, you've got duresses that you want to bring in and unmoored egos to get rid of their reanimation spells or their agent. Probably get rid of the agents of treachery, actually, because Drakaseth we have removal for. Agent of treachery, especially if there's a Yarok out, just wrecks our side. Okay, so let's try that again. Take these out. I love the Chandras here. I love the War Boss. Love the Unmoored Ego. Get rid of the Cast Downs. Bring in the Noxious Grasps. Oops, that's not Noxious Grasp. Bring out the Bedeck Bedazzle. Bring out the Disfigures. Okay, and then we had one more card that we had to cut, and we're going to do it before we have 30 seconds, which is actually 0 seconds apparently. It might be Rekindling Phoenix because that's, well, actually it might be Nicol Bolas the Ravager because they don't they don't care about. But I do like Bolas because if you flip him, you can just get a disgustingly large creature back, and I win a lot of games against this deck by doing that. Yeah, I think it might be the Phoenix. Just cut one of those. The double red does slow it down somewhat as well. So I'll give it a try like that. And as you've seen, missing a land so you can't cast your spells often means you're discarding it when otherwise you wouldn't have to the Regisar. I think this will probably be our last match for the night because I do want to talk. Well, one, I really have to restart the client, so I might as well make that coincide. Okay, this is good. The Double Bolas is really sketchy, but Ebon Legion into Thought Erasure, always amazing. And even if they Thought Erasure us, we can Thought Erasure them back. So I do want to talk a little bit about the spoilers that we've had from Eldraine so far, because this deck is going to lose 8 cards out of the main deck. It will lose all 8 of its 4-drops, those being 4 Nicol Bolas, 2 Vraska's Contempt, and 2... They have a stop on our... And 2 Phoenixes, Rekindling Phoenix. Well, and your Stitcher Supplier. They probably weren't going to get much value out of swinging with it, but, you know. Looks like they're going to kill it. Oh, geez. They miss on their second land? Well, let's punish them for it, I guess. I actually want to get rid of this Thought Erasure because Chandra represents an additional 2 Thought Erasures for us. We can't cast her with the lands that we have right now, though. Chart of Course digs them out of their mana pocket. Thought Erasure probably also surveilled them out of their mana pocket. And I'd rather them not know what we have in our hand as well. Ooh, okay, well that's also really good, because next turn we can double discard spell them. We'll go in for 1, we're the beatdown deck. If they want to trade, they take 1 damage, then they get back in for a damage. I assume they probably just block and get their... Well, actually, they might save it for later, because they can get some chip damage in the meantime, and then they can block it when this guy can pump. So that's probably correct, actually. We'll see what they choose to do. Milling themselves doesn't put themselves... Like, the odds that they mill into a land are just the same as that they mill themselves from what would have been a land. So the odds are the same either way that they're going to hit a land here. Okay, wow. All right. Well, I like swinging in here and seeing if they just block, because I would rather they do this now than when we actually want to pump. If they knew our plans, I think it would be right for them to let this through. Oh, they could also be playing around something like Spawn of Mayhem, which I don't run in this deck any longer, but, I mean, that's not the worst. Not the worst. So I'm gonna take a look at Twitch here briefly. Okay, they have blocked.
Hey, Jaden, thank you so much
Oops.
for your
Sorry about that.
support. Thank you for being here.
Accidentally, while I was maneuvering around Twitch, I accidentally clicked on Kyberry's Heroes of the Storm stream. We're going to Duress first, because it has fewer targets. And I think we take the chart of course and just stop them from being able to draw. And then we will Thought Erasure. Hopefully we'll find a red land so we can Chandra Duress. I believe it's the Tamio this time. Actually, we're going to get rid of these 3 animation spells, because if it takes them... Okay, there's the red. Because if we can get the Chandra down, we know that we can do a couple more discard spells, and it'll take them so long to actually be able to play Tamio, get the spell back, and then cast the spell again. Well, I guess we go in first. And this is why we run 3 Chandra in this matchup, and this is a large part of why... This is most of the reason why we put the 3rd one into the sideboard after taking the 3rd one out of the main deck, because she is clunky in a lot of matchups, but when you can do things like this, it's just... It's so good. Like, this is so backbreaking for our opponent, because next turn we can plus her, or, you know, plus her. Oh, actually, do we just take literally everything from their hand? We can't do that, because we can't play Bolus. Okay, so here we're going to put a loyalty on her. Get in. Make them Bolus away a card. If they play Tamio, they can get something back, but then we can get rid of it, and they're tapped out, and that's only if they get a land. And then we can kill the Tamio when she's in play, so... I feel like Massacre Girl is the correct toss. Okay, Electric Course probably draws them into a land. The odds are very good of that being... They've seen 19 cards and only 3 lands so far, and they discarded another Massacre Girl, and they did find the land. But now we're going to Thought Erasure. Oh wait, the Tamio. We don't have anywhere close to lethal here, although it does feel bad having these cards stranded in our hand for this, not being able to pump. But, I mean... Oops. Oh yeah, also Tamio turns off discard. I should have remembered that. Yeah, that could have been a huge punt on our part. We're so far from being able to double spell, or spell plus pump. I just want to try to find a cheaper spell. Although I guess... Oh yeah, we already flashed back our Duress, so... Yeah, so I definitely should have been prioritizing discarding Tamio, because Tamio stops discard. But I guess they put her into play, we just kill her, and then, yeah, and then their life feels miserable. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9... 10, 11... I mean, we can just take them to 1 here. And then we have a Chandra on board. So... Might have actually been better to, instead of pumping, play that Bolus, make them discard whatever in their hand, and make them just have to top deck something to deal with our entire board. But, and that was really unfortunate for our opponent. That was, like, I mean, I guess we played game 2 without sideboarding, but, I mean, we won that game. We were on the play, so that always helps. But anyway, so that's going to do it for... we're at 14 out of 15, but, you know, it's probably just going to be another Moldavine Reclamation or something. I'll leave it at that for tonight. So yeah, but we're not quite done, because I will just mosey on over here. Let's see. Bring up a browser window, go over to Streamlabs, and bring up the display capture, which should be in front. There we go. So, as we were just saying, this deck loses a lot of pieces in rotation. I was wrong before. I said that it only loses those 4-drops. It also loses the buddy lands, obviously, the check lands. I believe that Marrow, or someone like Marrow, confirmed today that, oh, come on, that we're not getting any rare dual lands in Eldraine. So the odds that we get something that can replace these, Drowned Catacombs, Sulphur Falls, all that, that can just straight up replace them without a hitch are pretty low. And even going from, your Sulphur Falls to your Temple of Epiphany is a serious downgrade, in my opinion, especially when there's dual lands in the format. So we're losing all these cards. I think we're losing a couple of our sideboard cards, aren't we? No, we're not, actually. Okay, so our sideboard that we have right now is staying exactly the same, but we're losing those lands, and we're losing Rekindling Phoenix, Nicol Bolas, the Ravager, and Vraska's Contempt. I assume that we're going to get some black removal, maybe even some black exile at instant speed from Throne of Eldraine. So this one, we can kind of just plan around not having it, and having something else that can replace it in a similar capacity. Although the life gain on this I will miss. Having incidental life gain. Plus, exiling at instant speed is great. And targeting lots of things. But so, all these guys are going away. We haven't seen a whole lot of cards that would go into this deck yet, because only a few cards have been spoilered, and most of them are just cards from the Brawl pre-constructed decks, and those decks are usually not super good. So, I mean, the commanders are really cool and all that, but the cards that fill them out usually are not as good as the best rares in the full set. But we have had a card spoiled, and I think that this was actually a leak, not an official spoiler. So if you don't want to see it, you can tune off now, and we'll see you later. But it is this card here called the Royal Scions. There's a 5 loyalty, 3 CMC Planeswalker, and I believe this has actually been officially confirmed that this is the card. So, Legendary Planeswalker, as usual. +1, draw a card, then discard a card. +1, target creature gets +2/+0 and gains first strike and trample until end of turn. -8, draw 4 cards. When you do, the Royal Scions deals damage to any target equal to the number of cards in your hand. And oh boy, is that card ever going to be fun in a deck like this one. Because let's take a look at that. Okay, draw a card, then discard a card. Remember those times when we fight control decks and we have all of our Legion's Ends and all of our Disfigures? Yeah, those just turn into, like, Chandras and Bedevils with this card. Now, so first, comes down for 3. That's great. We have removal and discard for 2. We have threats on 1. We can play this on turn 3 if we don't want to play one of the many, many threats that we have on 3. Awesome. Rolls up to 6 immediately. We've seen from Nissa how rolling up to 6 is so difficult to deal with, and this is 2 mana cheaper than Nissa. Of course, Nissa comes out on turn 3 anyways because Llanowar Elves is a card, but, we'll put that aside for now. They're rotating, so we don't have to worry about that for, well, I guess there's the Golden Goose, but Gilded Goose, but I guess we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Anyways, so this is coming down, rolling up to 6. It doesn't protect itself like Nissa does, so it's not as difficult to remove as Nissa going up to 6. But that's still really, really hard to deal with, especially if you're on the play, especially if you have a creature that you've played turn 1, so you can, like, eat a, not Fanatical Firebrand, but, a Footlight Fiend or something like that, and maybe they can ping in for 1. But maybe you have a creature down, you've probably been killing their creatures already. Now you have a 6-mana Planeswalker. What do you got? Draw a card, discard a card, so it's filtering you through the cards that you don't want, turning them into cards that you do want. If you can run 4 of these, because if you draw 4, you put it down. If you don't want one of them, you discard it and draw another card. Next turn, even if this one dies, you can later play another one of these guys, loot another one away. We saw that with Jace Vryn's Prodigy before, which, granted, Jace Vryn's Prodigy comes down on turn 2, so it's easier to, protect on turn 3 rather than having to protect proactively turn 2 and then on turn 3 play this. But also, it can't be killed. Jace can't be killed with combat damage when he's on his Vryn's Prodigy side. So we've seen how him being able to loot himself away was very, very powerful and made it basically you always run 4 of this card. Also with Liliana of the Veil, way back in Innistrad Standard, and how that was so great. Run 4, discard the ones you don't need, while making your opponent discard other cards. Actually, kind of a nice synergy there, or symmetry between this and that. Anyways, so that's really cool. That's very, very, very cool. And it also helps us hit land drops, so we can reduce our maybe our number of lands by a little bit, get the right colors, things like that. Okay. +2/+0, first strike, trample until end of turn. Oh my god, that is so good for this deck. 1, a 2/3 Knight of the Ebon Legion now pumps itself without having to pump. So that is very relevant. Knight of the Ebon Legion gets first strike and trample. When it pumps, it gets Death Touch, and Death Touch and trample means that you could block with, say, 5 Gigantosaurs. And a 5/6 Knight of the Ebon Legion would kill every one of them through all of their 50 toughness, because it would first strike, and it would survive, because it would first strike 1 point of damage onto every one of those creatures, and they would all die from that 1 point of damage, and then it would start trampling over to the next ones, and then any damage that was left over just goes to the face. So, yeah, first strike with Death Touch, and then also putting trample on there. Fantastic for that card. Oh, Rotting Regisaur. What is Rotting Regisaur really weak against? Lots of guys that gum up the board and chump block it while it's eating through your hand. Well, now it has first strike and trample, and as a 9/6. So nothing is going to be able to trade with it. Well, I mean, okay, a 10 toughness creature can trade with it. Or multiple first strikers or something like that. But that's about it. This thing is going to get its damage in, and it's going to kill anything in its way while surviving every time. Legion Warboss. Smaller upside, but now Legion Warboss can mentor 2/2s. If you've had to throw away some of your tokens, or you want to mentor up a Knight of the Ebon Legion that's grown too big, you can put it on this guy, or you can send in Legion Warboss into, like, a Gruul Spellbreaker. This can attack safely into that Spellbreaker, pump one of your tokens. So, you know, get in for an extra couple of damage while pumping another token. Makes it really awkward for your opponent. And so, yeah, so I don't know, you know, obviously we won't have these cards to pump, but whatever we end up putting in these slots will probably also really like those abilities on them. And then also this -8. So these are both plus abilities, so it's rolling up every time it does that. Granted, they aren't protecting themselves with either ability, and this only lasts until end of turn, so it doesn't work defensively, but it's such a powerful card on the offense, or just in terms of getting you're fogging tons of damage or making your opponent take attacks where they have to sacrifice their creatures because our guys are just so big, and we are really good at removing their creatures one at a time. And then you get to the -8. So this will normally take 4 turns. But we have Chandra. And Chandra really likes to roll up, because it's a really powerful ability. And not only does rolling Chandra up mean that she can minus and cast the spells that we've discarded with the Royal Scions, but they are also a red Planeswalker, so she is giving them loyalty. So if they come down, say, turn 3, and use either plus, they're at 6. The next turn, if we play Chandra, they're at 8, and they are threatening to ult. That is insane. Granted, that's very hard to do through any amount of pressure, because the only way that we can really disrupt through that is like a turn 1, with the current list. Is like a turn 1 disfigure, Knight of the Ebon Legion is not going to be able to block very well in this scenario, into a turn 2 removal spell, into Planeswalker, our opponent has to have no pressure on either of them for 2 turns. But there are decks where that happens. Things like Field of the Dead decks often don't really have any way of pressuring your Planeswalkers until they get their Field of the Dead engine going. I mean, they do have Rejuvenating Druid, which is from Guild of Ravnica, I believe. Let me... Elvish Rejuvenate. Oh, no. Okay. I guess that's rotating. Okay, so Elvish... Ignore what I'm saying. Oh, it's... Arboreal Grazer is not rotating. Elvish Rejuvenator is. Of course, Arboreal Grazer does not threaten this card. So, yeah, so decks like that from the list that we have right now, I don't think they can really pressure this very much. So you will have some times, I think, where that comes into play, and then you're, you know, -4ing, drawing 4 cards, probably dealing 6 to their face, or, like, blowing up their Yarok, or something like that. And that's very conservative to think that you would be down to 2 cards at that point and then deal 6. So, just, oh man, this... I am super, super jazzed to spend 4 Mythic Wild cards the day the set drops. We might even end up, because this is the only double black card left in this deck now that we no longer have Spawn of Mayhem. So if we end up putting in Spawn of Mayhem to replace some of these guys, then this will not be as much of a thing, but we might end up losing the double black from this deck, which will mean that we can go a little more into the blue and the red, even with the mana base becoming shakier from the checklands rotating out. And of course we'll have gain lands that we can put in their place, so we'll probably have like 2 to 3 of those, depending on what other lands we end up running and what our color balance ends up being. But also, this pushing us more towards red-blue based rather than black based means that because we have Temple of Epiphany in the format, the enemy colors will probably be a little bit better at color fixing than the allied colors. So going heavier red-blue with a splash of black is more feasible. Now, granted, we still have Knight isn't going anywhere. Oh, we're losing Cast Down too. I forgot to mention that. So that is another card that we're losing out of this deck. But so Legion's End not going anywhere. Thought Erasure obviously not going anywhere. Noxious Grasp was staying around. Regisaur is like the Regisaur and Knight of the Ebon Legion are the reasons that this deck can even exist in the first place. So those cards are all staying. So we'll still have a lot of black, but the amount of double black will probably be significantly reduced. And that might make it easier to run cards like the Royal Scions. And also, it's actually pretty easy to string together blue-red, much easier than blue-blue or red-red, because you can do that off of, you know, a Steam Vents and basically any other dual land, whereas blue-blue, if you have like Steam Vents Blood Crypt, you can't. So anyway, thank you for listening to my TED Talk about the Royal Scions and how much I love this card. I haven't felt this excited about a spoiler. It might have actually been since Snapcaster Mage, honestly. When Snapcaster Mage dropped during spoiler season, I went, I think I'm going to buy a place out of that, because I will play them forever, and I did. So, yeah, this is super cool. I mean, I don't think they're as good as Snapcaster Mage, don't get me wrong, but I'm so excited to play them in this deck, see how it goes. I mean, Oko is also great, but we'd have to be in Sultai for that, which, I mean, that might be a cool way of playing this deck, too. Or we could go Teamer, but run both of them, but I don't think that Teamer is where this deck wants to be, because then we lose all the most important cards and we have no hard removal for anything, which is not great when you're running a deck that wants to remove your opponent's creatures so that your big guys can get through. So yeah, I don't think that would happen, but you know, maybe Sultai would be a cool thing. And then also we're in a Wedge, which is easier to, this is the wrong Oko. But yeah, Wedges, when we have more enemy-colored dual lands, being easier to run is a tried and true principle of Magic the Gathering. Mana fixing. So anyway, I think that'll do it for us for now. We will probably try to get a stream in tomorrow. No promises on that, but we will try, probably in the early to mid-afternoon, or maybe late morning. So keep an eye out for that. I will certainly do it if I can. Otherwise, I think that about wraps it up for now. So thank you very much for joining us on this Friday night. Love spending our time with you, and it's just so much fun doing these streams and seeing your engagement. So if you liked the stream, give it a thumbs up, leave us a comment, hit the subscribe button. We always love to hear your feedback. If you didn't like it, we still love to hear your feedback. Give it a thumbs down, leave us a comment about what we can do better. Tell me to stop talking so fast all the time. I need to hear that. I am definitely working on that, and I think I've improved. I'll go back and watch my earlier videos, but we'll see. So yeah, just, you know, anything you would like to see us do better, that you'd like to see us cover more of, all that, we would love to hear. So thank you again for joining us. Have a wonderful Friday, and we'll see you next time.